in to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucius, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde, and the governor. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
And we're on. I wish I was smart enough to know how to clip and unclip us back in as if it were super seamless. Not that good. I'll figure it out one day. Welcome back, everyone. Athletics LLC here. Obviously, the tiles look a little bit different tonight. For the first time in 3 years, travel has actually caught up with us. And so I don't know how it took us this long, honestly, amongst the travels that we've had in the last 2 years. It's surprising that it took this long. So we will continue the show with a lesser amount of tiles, but nonetheless bring all the bam, all the boom, all the bam, all the pam with it. So Clyde,
ma'am,
how we doing, sir?
Well, I'm here, so clearly I'm doing awesome, or at least better than some of our colleagues who, we feeling for you. But we can hold this down in our classic ways. I get more time to be a little bit more petty. So it's a win. It's a win for everybody, really, is ultimately what it is.
Jesus.
Is that US? Is that us? Is it USA? What are we doing?
Just us tonight. I'm just
got
us.
it. Okay, go ahead. And how are you tonight, sir?
Us is doing fine. It's
are you trying to make a new pronoun?
No.
Do we need any more?
I thought it was a good title for the first day of Black History Month because it's really about us. And I figured I'd try it. I don't know. We'll see how it works. But okay. I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm doing good.
You're doing well. Doing well.
No, I'm doing good.
Okay. Criminy. All right. Well, jumping into the topics today. Let's start off with the one that hurts my heart the most. Thanks for making it just turn the knife a little bit more. In our upcoming championship that we have in 2 weekends or 2 Saturdays, we have the Super Bowl championship. The Niners will not be in it, so I somewhat don't care anymore. But to celebrate the month that we have just turned over today, February, and it's being recognized that we have 2 African American quarterbacks playing against each other, and I think it's for the first time ever? Question mark.
First time ever.
So, how does that strike the air for you guys?
You know what? I'll even go first because I actually want to be paying attention when Clyde talks on this one. I'll say this. I think it's amazing. I think it was obviously inevitable at some point. But I am very much looking forward to the day that it's not a story. Because it is a story, right? It's the first time, which is mind-boggling, but it's the first time that both quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, both starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, are of African-American descent. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is of biracial descent, so I will not be disrespectful in that regard. But as Clyde would say, he's a mixed baby. So we put him in his right box. But I think it's cool. And it's not cool because they're Black. It's cool because of who they are. Patrick Mahomes was wildly talented. And as usual with wildly talented people, along the way, not everybody knew exactly what to do with him. But luckily for him, he got drafted by the Chiefs, and Andy Reid knew exactly what to do with him, and has built an offense that allows him to grow as a quarterback, grow as a person, and be him. And let me tell you, that's amazing. because had he been drafted by, I don't know, any number of probably 15 teams, he would still be Patrick Mahomes. There would be still moments of greatness for sure. There'd also be some other shenanigans, which would suck. And listen, I am a Giants fan, which means I was born and bred to hate the Eagles, but I'm gonna say it like this. If you can't rock with Jalen Hurts, regardless of whether you're black, white, green, or purple, like, why are you breathing? Because this cat is one of the greatest stories that's not really being told right now in sports, right? Like, dad was coaching high school, went to Bama, did a great job, got the ultimate disrespect and pulled at halftime for the freshman. The freshman balls out, loses his job, loses his spot, leaves Alabama, goes to Oklahoma, rebuilds himself, does an incredible job there, only to be disrespected through the draft, have people talking about whether he should be a running back.
Tight end.
Right. Goes to the Eagles. The Eagles fan base is like, why did we take a quarterback? And he's not really a quarterback, and balls out well enough through first 2 years that if he's anybody else, like, he gets the starting job, and we're trying to figure out extensions. But instead, it's like, this is your prove it year as to whether we're really going to keep you as the dude or whether we're going to go draft a quarterback next year. And all he does is respond with an MVP level performance of a season. They're 16-1 with him as a starting quarterback this year. So I think it's cool. Obviously, I am rooting for Patrick Mahomes for a lot of reasons, but I'm not going to lie in this one, because I don't have a specific dog in the fight, so to speak. Like, bro, I'm cool. Whichever one of these quarterbacks is victorious, like, it's a great story either way. Just from a fact standpoint. Like, I'm rooting for Mahomes, but honestly, I will be 0% mad if Jalen Hurts gets his first one.
So, well said. I witnessed a different slant to this particular point on one of the shows. It may even have been PTI. And I think I agreed. Actually, it was PTI. And Michael Wilbon said something that I thoroughly agree with. They were debating which of these two quarterbacks has more to gain by winning.
That's an interesting, you know what?
Right?
That's why I love that show, because they ask interesting questions.
Yeah, for sure. And Wilbon's point was, getting one is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, sure,
Yeah.
there's this whole legacy and blah, blah, blah with Mahomes, but Dan Marino doesn't have one.
Well, I mean, these are facts,
right?
Man.
So the idea that Jalen Hurts could emerge from this as a Super Bowl champion, given the context of his background and everything he had to go through, is actually really dope. The Super Bowl, you pick your timeline. For me, it's about 15 years. Has more recently been more about the storylines than the game. Often. Sometimes the games don't live up to, the hype or the storylines or whatever. And so this one, as Lamar has said, it's cool to see. And I 100% agree with the idea that it shouldn't be a big deal, but let's face it, it is. I too yearn for the day where it's not. But it is a moment in time that we all should recognize and take a second to celebrate and appreciate, the struggle that led to this being a big deal. This Super Bowl for me, it's the Andy Reid Bowl too. Don't miss that one. Right?
I saw that.
It's definitely the Andy Reid Bowl. And because I usually champion the underdogs, there's no way I'm not rooting for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in this game. Patrick Mahomes is currently the best quarterback in the league. And I think this year he went out of his way to prove that it's really not that close. But Patrick Mahomes, as I have always said, and for the first time heard Lamar agree with me without me saying it, he brought it up on his own. Patrick Mahomes is also a huge product of the luck of the draw, where he landed. Patrick Mahomes is not who he is without Andy Reid leading his career and developing him as a player.
Okay, don't say that.
Oh,
he's not this version.
That's what I'm saying. He's not this guy.
Who he is.
The talent is the talent, but all you need to understand, the drop off of a talent like Josh Allen, missing Brian Daboll, and the elevation.
boy, does coaching matter.
The elevation of Daniel Jones. There's a market for Daniel Jones now because of Brian Daboll.
Yep.
That's coaching matters so much, and Patrick Mahomes is amazing because he is lucky enough to be surrounded by the best offensive mind in the game and has been that for a long time.
So time out right there.
Yes.
Imagine if the 49ers, who always get a pass in this conversation.
Oh, they should.
Imagine if the 49ers had taken him. Like everybody blows the Bears apart, right? Because they traded up to take Trubisky. But nobody ever gives the Niners what they deserve, which is ridicule. The vitriol of, you got this offensive genius and you don't take. He's a generational talent.
Yes.
So just imagine, look, as good as he is with Andy Reid, and listen, he's special. But can you imagine if the 49ers had Patrick Mahomes the last 5 years?
Hey, I hear you. Because
they got at least 2 more titles.
Because Shanahan is excellent. I don't think he's as good as Andy Reid, but he's excellent. But
there would never have been as much pressure on Patrick Mahomes, right?
No.
There's other pieces.
For sure. But so for me, Patrick Mahomes is the anointed. I mean, it's already started. It's been started, but now it's the train is moving really fast now. If he wins this game, is the GOAT conversation? Like, stop it. Stop with this.
Well, I saw some interesting things on that today, and I'm gonna let you finish talking because I want to jump back in here.
No, I hear you, but stop with the disrespect.
It's not disrespect.
It's totally disrespect.
It's TV. It's total, not disrespect. It's TV.
It's total disrespect. Jalen Hurts is the ultimate David in this David versus Goliath situation. Like, at the beginning of the year, there were a handful of people like, yo, the Eagles roster is actually pretty good. But no one said Jalen Hurts is going to duel Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, because the roster was really good, but the question was about the quarterback.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so for Jalen Hurts to play the way he's played, Jalen Hurts is a grinder. Jalen Hurts is, one of the things people hear me say all the time is constantly live your life in a state of evolution. That is Jalen Hurts.
Facts.
All that man has ever done at every level is overcome the low expectations that were placed in front of him.
Which is so wild, right? To think about somebody who was the starting quarterback at Alabama having like low expectations.
And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure he won the national championship the year before he was replaced in the national championship. Was he not?
Yes.
So that's how little people have thought of his skill set to play that position. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. Like, I'm like, Jalen Hurts is a great dude and he's a leader, no doubt. But you could find a better QB. Like, that was my brain, right? No. Sirianni planned the offense around him, and it works, and it's unique, and they are in the show. And I am totally rooting for that team to, succeed and continue with the dynasty of one that is the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm here for it. I don't care about either one of these teams per se, but I definitely have a rooting interest, which is I am always pro underdog and I am always anti-hype, and I can't even stomach the years of hype that I'm going to have to listen to if Patrick Mahomes somehow wins this game.
See, okay. Big League, would you like to jump in, or can I throw in like a couple of anecdotes real fast?
Well, real quick, couple things, different points, same topic. So yes, we're celebrating that this is a milestone, right, within the sport itself and for the athletes. I think that part of the reason why this is something that's, call it, brought to the front page is quarterbacks aren't supposed to look like them. When you look at your high school teams and whatnot, they've got a look and they don't necessarily look like them. So these are two who broke the mold per se. Okay. They're not your tall white kids who have the financial background to go to the quarterback camps, to play baseball, who have the arms and things of that nature. Like, they have definitely athletic backgrounds, not due in part to who their dads are, but because of just their upbringing. So I think that's something that why we may not have seen this before, thinking about what you all had said leading into this and kind of hearing the conversation after the games last weekend. To go to the 49ers statement, we don't like to lay stock in newbies. Like, how hesitant was everybody on our wagon for Brock Purdy? Like, we like a little bit of depth. Maybe it's not playing time, but Jimmy G had a great mentor, sorry, wrong word. And so in doing that, even though he didn't get a whole bunch of PT already, he was in the space and he was, quote unquote, digesting that stuff. So Mahomes coming out, what?
That's very sweet. And
it is very sweet.
We understand, but you're forgetting that they gave up a lot to invest in Trey Lance. They sold the entire farm and the next door neighbor's cows to get the rights to take Trey Lance.
But when
they could have just straight up drafted the guy that's better.
No, it wasn't the same class.
No,
but that's the point, right? They screwed it up, and then they saw what Mahomes was, and they're like, "Oh, we ain't gonna screw it up again," and bet on the wrong guy.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we don't even know if Trey Lance is the wrong guy. Like, he's played 4 games.
Sure, but he ain't that guy.
And I'll say this: so there's been some slander out there that they need to hire a new strength and conditioning coach. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think it's completely. Like, some of these injuries that happen weren't due in part to their bodies not being prepared. It's football. There are a lot of things that, like,
listen,
you don't have a torn UCL because you didn't train your forearm and doing dumbbell curls with your wrist and whatnot.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, think about it. Like, the 49ers had their first quarterback go out with a broken ankle.
Fibula.
Yeah, so it was down in the bottom. So it was just tibia or fibula. And then they had another quarterback go out with a broken leg.
Something.
Right? Isn't that what Jimmy G went out with?
Jimmy G's had everything broken. So
I think he's got a broken something, because that's why he would be back in theory for the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, maybe he's the tib fib.
And then no, because it was Trey Lance's ankle is still out on the field. So he was the tib fib. And then you have your third string quarterback who has to have Tommy John. Like, and
then your fourth has a concussion.
And then their fourth one is out with a concussion. But the fact that one team lost a quarterback to a broken something, another quarterback to a broken something, and a third quarterback to a UCL injury is wild for one year.
It's football. It's bad timing. It is what it is.
It is, but like, literally in the history of football, that's never happened.
No. I totally understand.
It's just wild.
So listen, all I'm saying is there's no reason that the quarterback position shouldn't be as diverse as any other position when it comes to talent. And by diverse, I don't necessarily mean skin color, even though that's a part of it. But Russell Wilson plays the game differently than Patrick Mahomes, who plays the game differently, totally differently than Lamar Jackson, who plays the game totally differently than Deshaun Watson, who plays the game totally differently than Jalen Hurts, right?
So it's funny that you say that, because I feel like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Patrick Mahomes play the game the same way, just not at the same levels.
Oh, no.
Because all
I would
three of those
vehemently
guys
disagree
are
with that.
all three of those guys are escapability guys. They have some athleticism, but they're not. They're first, second, third read before we run guys. Like I think those three guys go in the same category.
I get that, but like Patrick Mahomes' arm talent is A1.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the three of those guys play the game the same way, but their physical skills come out. Meaning, if I was going to put them in categories, I'd put those three guys in the same type of guy, but it comes out differently because Patrick Mahomes has more arm talent. Deshaun Watson has more leg talent, right? And Russell Wilson is that strange blend of the two.
Well, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. I would still disagree. But here's the thing. My point is this: that's one of the, if not the, basketball has gone through this evolution now, right? Where everybody's basically positionless. They're different sizes and different weights, but it's positionless basketball in the NBA now, right? Quarterback has been like very strategically defined. 6'4", stand in the pocket, throw the ball. You got to be tall because of this. You got to have this type of arm, blah, 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 right? And even someone like Josh Allen or Justin Herbert have brought a diversity of skills to this position that you wouldn't want to see even 10 years ago. People they would reject it, right? So as that position is viewed more diversely from skill and everything else, all you're going to see is more and more African-American kids pursuing what they couldn't actually really see themselves pursuing 20 years ago. Like that was a risk 20 years ago. Now it's probably an advantage to be like, you know what? Actually, I want to be the quarterback. And yes, I'm going to use my athleticism. Yes, I'm going to use my legs. And if I can do all that and have the discipline to stand in the pocket and throw the way you need to throw, well, then I'm the A1 guy, right? So I'm here for all of that. And of course, you land in the Super Bowl with these two guys who play the position totally differently, facing off against each other. And you know, if you're a fan of the game of football, that's where the matchups and everything get really, really interesting, right? So, like I said, don't really care about either of the teams. I got most of my wishes this football season, but any year that I get my main wish, I'm always happy. Cowboys out early. I'm good. I'm good. So,
oh my gosh.
So fun fact, and hopefully it goes this way. Miss Madison has been invited to a women in sport type speaking engagement in Phoenix Super Bowl weekend.
During that time. Oh my gosh.
She gets a ticket. I'm trying to manipulate a way to get 2 tickets so I can go. That is where I'm at with this. So I might give y'all a report from Phoenix if things work in my favor.
Now listen, I'll tell you this right now. I've been to most sporting events. Haven't been to a Super Bowl yet for the very reason you're talking about. Tickets are usually impossible. But so if you get a ticket, you got yes.
Oh no, I'm yes. So yes. You know what's ridiculous? Absolutely ridiculous.
The prices of hotels during this. Oh, no.
All that would be paid for. I ain't worried about that. The baby would need a ticket.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. True. Think about that. The 1-year-old.
The 1-year-old who can't sit in the seat by himself. Yeah.
Now, the baby wouldn't need a ticket on the plane.
No.
But you need a ticket in the stadium.
Yeah. Any other game, they don't need a ticket either because they're a lot baby.
Like, come on. So, yeah, we working that thing out. But if there's a second ticket, I'm in that. Kai ain't getting that. I'm going.
Yes.
Kai got family. He be good.
Before we jump topics, I just wanted to say this about Patrick Mahomes and where he was drafted, right? Like, it is always, to some degree a roulette wheel as to what your quarterbacking skills are and who takes you, right? Because, like, look, Joe Montana, who was the GOAT for a very long time, and in some people's minds still is. Some people's minds.
Stop it.
I said just relax. There are some people who still think he is, right? But the point is, like, if he doesn't get taken by the 49ers and doesn't go to, that genius,
Absolutely.
right, then he's a different guy. And that's probably the case. Like, look, dude, imagine Dan Marino went, I don't know, anywhere else. He probably would have won a couple of Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Right. But, like at the end, same with Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Right. He went to 4, lost them all. So like, yeah, there is definitely that luck piece to it. But it's just funny, man. Like, the Brady falls into that category.
Sure.
Right. And Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, like, all of them fall into the same kind of category. Like, what you want to do is be the most talented guy for sure, but then that luck piece has to take over and help you out. Because I can tell you this right now: if Randall Cunningham went someplace different, Randall Cunningham probably would have won a Super Bowl or 2. If Randall Cunningham had if Andy Reid was the head coach of the Eagles when Randall Cunningham was drafted, they might have won a Super Bowl.
Randall Cunningham, my original favorite player. Randall Cunningham.
If Mike Vick had been drafted by the Eagles instead of the Falcons, right, and had Andy Reid from the beginning, we might have got Lamar. Lamar might have been like Lamar 2.0.
Yeah.
Right. Because if Mike Vick goes someplace that makes him study and makes him be first one in, last one out, they win Super Bowls too. Let's be clear. Mike Vick is still the person with the strongest arm to ever play quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I said it. Look it up. Like, that includes Dan Marino. That includes John Elway. That includes Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, all of whom have ridiculous arm talent. Just go back and watch Mike Vick throw footballs. That's all I'm telling you. Like, Mike Vick is the strongest arm to ever play the NFL. And he's also the fastest guy to ever play quarterback too.
Hey, there you go.
All right. Moving on. We know that we've got a super group. What did you call them? Not Voltron. Dang it. I can't think of it right now. But anyways, Avengers. The Avengers of a training group happening right now in California. We've got Mr. Coach Kersee's training group. And there's been conversation as to which of the training groups by the decades is better, the current or the one in is it 90s? Is that what it is? Sorry.
It would be, we'll say,
is it right on the
mid 80s to mid 90s, like that decade. So that includes,
we're doing crossover. Okay.
Well, it's not real crossover, right? There weren't that many people new. Like, if you look at his group from 80, so let's just use Olympics, right? 84 to 92.
So lay it out for the people.
So that group includes Jackie Joyner Kersee, mm-hmm. Gail Devers, mm-hmm. Greg Foster, mm-hmm. Valerie Briscoe Hooks, what's wrong with me? She was the track coach at UCLA for forever. Jeanette Bolden before she tore her Achilles. Yeah. Florence Griffith Joyner. We'll just call her FloJo. That's easier. No offense to anybody else, but like, that's kind of it. Like, meaning there's others for sure.
Yeah,
but like, I'm going to say that I think I named all the medals. Right. And let's be clear, there's a lot of medals in that group.
Yeah.
Someone will tell you that you didn't. It's okay.
Right. So what'd you say?
I said, someone will tell you that you didn't, but that's okay.
I don't think there's any medals I missed, but I got you. Anyway, so that group, yeah, I'm sure, somebody will text in that, send you an email that Huffins isn't always talking about.
Was
So
Alice
anyway,
Brown, was Alice Brown in that group?
probably because she
So
was
you,
done by 88.
okay.
So so that group versus this group, which is now Kenny, Prandini, Thing Mo, Sid, Allison's
Brandon
not there
Williams.
anymore. Who'd you say?
Brandon Williams,
Yes.
Who?
800-meter runner. Miller's boyfriend.
His Brandon Miller.
Miller.
Brandon
just kidding.
Miller.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm
Miller.
sorry.
I knew who you meant, but I couldn't think of his name. And
Are there any
again,
males? And are there any other males in that group?
No.
no, because look,
I
let's
don't
be
think so.
clear. Like, listen, I want to state this for the record, looking into the camera. I love Bobby Kersee. He's been a friend for a very long time. His female resume versus his male resume is not a comparison.
No.
So I'm not saying he can't coach men, so don't at me. But at the end of the day, the list of females he's coached that have won medals,
you don't have to say that he can't. No one would say that he can't. Let's just say that basically he doesn't.
He really hasn't and really doesn't.
doesn't.
Right? Like the medal count on the women he's coached versus the men he's coached is a billion to like 2. So
right. So listen, what exactly is the question here?
the question is, which group is better?
Yeah.
Well,
Because listen, that question was brought to us.
Yes, and so whoever brought that question, that's a silly question. At best, it's a to be determined question. And it's really complicated because I think, and I'm speaking for myself and probably the other 2 tiles that aren't here, we all have agreed that we think Bobby Kersee is going to do a phenomenal job across the board here because that's what he does. But don't get it twisted. He did not invent a Thing Mo or develop a Thing Mo. A Thing Mo's walking in there, world champion, Olympic champion, American record holder. That's not his work.
Yes, but
And
when she becomes
sure
world record holder.
Sure, but that's why it's a silly question right now. Sid, yes. What he has done with Sid, that's him. Kenny is not the world record holder anymore, and she didn't become the world record holder under his tutelage.
But when she becomes it,
oh, now we can have that debate. I don't think Kenny's getting anywhere near that.
Listen, I'm just trying to help the people who ask this question.
Well, so this is why it's a silly question. Because the best answer that you can give, if you even want to pick the quote unquote new school group, is to be determined. Because they haven't done anything.
Well, I'm gonna go further.
Like,
I'm gonna go further.
And where they would have to go?
Right. This is where I'm going. Is this, right? If you give Sid every medal that you think she's gonna contest, and you give a Thing Mo every medal that you think she's gonna contest through the rest of their careers, right? So that's if you give Sid, let's go crazy and say she wins the 400 and 400 hurdles and 4x4 in 24.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And does the same in 28.
Sure.
Right? I mean, literally that's where we're at. Right?
Yeah.
And a Thing Mo wins the 8 and the 4x4 in 24 and 28. Right? And Kenny comes back and is the world record holder and is the gold medalist in 24 and 28. If you give them all of the medals that they are going to contest, they're going to come up short.
Right.
Because like, here, look, listen, this younger generation never saw Valerie Briscoe hooks, so they don't understand. Like, she won the 4-2 4x4 triple at the Olympics.
Right.
Jackie won all of the medals everywhere. Gail massively underachieved as a hurdler in winning silver medal.
Yeah.
And silver medal. Oh, by the way, she also won back-to-back gold medals in the 100.
Right.
Like, right. And then we won't even, okay, listen. And then there's Flojo. She won the 1, she won the 2, she won the 4x1, got the silver in the 4x4 because it was demanded of her. Right. Like that group alone, we're not even talking about Greg Foster and his silver medals in the Olympics and his gold medals in the World Championships.
And with all due respect to Mr. Miller, we are not going to spend 1 second comparing those two people.
And so, like, I guess this is the part that I wish listen, this is a great question for us to educate people. It's not a great
this question posed by a high school student?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, a lot of people in this generation they don't know anything older than 2000. Like that's history for them. They don't understand is that, like, listen, no matter what we will ever do in the Olympics, nothing will surpass what we did in '84 because our team was loaded and the Europe and the Eastern Bloc didn't come. So like that, we was like, hey, I mean, listen, this is not a diss. Al Joyner's a gold medalist in the triple jump because there were no Eastern Bloc triple jumpers for him to compete against. Right. So like at the end of the day, like we weren't giving out medals, but every medal that it was possible for us to contest for, we won in '84. Right. That won't be the case in 2028, even without the Russians. Like, even if the Russians don't come in 2028, right? Even if we make them not a thing, there's still way more of the world that we have to compete against on our home soil. Like, just like World Championships. We had a great World Championships, but there's a whole lot of events that we normally would have won medals in that we didn't. So at the end of the day, like I think I'm glad this question was asked so we could educate.
Stomp it.
Bobby's mid 80s to early 90s grouping is Mount Rushmore. Like, what? You can't compare. Like, the HSI group in their heyday still falls short. And that's like Mo Green and Otto Bolden and Inger Miller. And, like, I mean, there's a bunch of medals in that group. Let's be clear. It still falls short. Like,
yeah.
Bobby's medal count in 84 and 88 and 92 are just dumb.
So appreciate it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks
Please
for bringing
continue.
potato salad.
Well, Big League, what do you listen? Maybe it's just the guys that think that. What do you think, Big League?
So I honestly don't have an answer because I am the population that you referred to is I know of the older training group. I don't know about the training group. So I was not running track at that time. So that wasn't it wasn't relevant. Let's just be real. It wasn't relevant to me. So I'm not educated. So I was being educated just now in depth.
I'll say this. I think whoever asked this question would have their answer if they go back. You can Google it. There's a Sports Illustrated cover from the Seoul Olympics of Jackie and Flojo and all of their medals from that Olympics. And Jackie won. She won the HEP. I think she either won or was silver in the long jump. Flojo won the 1, won the 2, won the 4x1, and was silver in the 4x4. Like, the two of them were standing there with like 7 medals from that Olympics.
Lamar, as you have heard me state, my current collegiate team is like 80% freshmen. They don't know nothing.
No.
I mean, at all.
Facts.
Forget 2000s. Hell, most of them was born in the 2000s. They don't know.
Oh, yeah.
No,
They don't know nothing.
they don't.
They have a hard time figuring out last year.
And it's only if it was on social media. They had to have been fed it. they didn't go and search it.
Yeah,
So-
I saw a thing the other day. It's like like there's so many amazing things that happened before Twitter existed.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another all-time great conversation about to be had. So we've had some pretty relevant news lately, going back to the NFL, about our lifted up GOAT, first time on the tiles here, Tom Brady. Not speaking of the retirement that came afloat today, but speaking of, is he the most accomplished athlete ever?
Well, clearly I have to go first because I mean, I think that if Clyde has a second child, he's going to name him either Tom or Brady.
Wow. First of all, I would never.
I could see a Brady. I could see I could see you
No.
have a kid named Brady.
Not at all. Not at all.
Look, I am on record as not being a Tom Brady fan. I was one of those people that had to have like Joe Montana as the GOAT ripped from my hands. Okay. So I want to make sure that everybody knows where I'm coming from. I'm going to have to lament here very, very soon that LeBron is probably the GOAT in basketball. I'll probably still vote for MJ, but I totally get it at this point, right? This is a dude who's a pass first guy who's going to have the scoring record in the NBA. So like at the end of the day, it's like, this ain't my day job. This is my side chick, and I'm still better at it than everybody. I get it. I do. I understand. I'm lucky. I'm 52 years old. So I've seen, I think at this point, the greatest basketball players, the greatest football players, the greatest tennis players. I think I've actually seen in my 52 years, I think I've seen the greatest in every sport. And I'll say this. I'm not disrespecting Bill Russell and his 11 titles. Titles matter. Don't get me wrong. But it's a conglomeration, right, of titles, who you played, who you beat, what the competitive balance was like, all that stuff comes into this conversation. And at the end of the day, I begrudgingly come to this. Michael Jordan was amazing, and I still think he's the best ever. LeBron has faced even tougher competition over a longer span, and hence why he's not as successful, right? Like I get that is what I'm saying. Like I'm giving respect to all of that. Brady has 7, and the number should be 7 because there's 2 he shouldn't have, and then there's 2 that he should. Like my Giants, like here's the truth, right? Like my Giants beat him twice, and we were the inferior team both times. But he shouldn't have the Super Bowl from when if the Seahawks run the football, right? And if the Falcons run the football, like he doesn't have those 2. So at the end of the day, like those 4 balance themselves out. He's earned 7, which means he has more rings than any organization.
Yeah.
Right. The funny part is like nobody pays attention to this, but Belichick has 8 because he won 2 as assistant with the Giants. But we're not going to go there because it's the coaching rings are different. But the man has 7 rings, and his ring total, Serena's championship total, given the level of competition she played, Tiger's championship total, given the level of competition he played, LeBron, MJ, and maybe Gretzky are like the pool of who we're talking about. Like that's probably it. And as begrudgingly as this is for me to say, like, I think Tom's 7 titles is actually the best thing I've seen in 52 years, because I listened today, they were talking about this, and like really and truly, like the ceiling for greatness in the NFL is 4 titles, right? Like there are very, very, very few people who have 4 rings. And Brady has 7. Right? Like, I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna be the best guy. And I think he's gonna end up with like 5. And that's if luck works out in his favor, right? Because here's the thing: at some point in time, like, okay, let's say he wins this one. That's 2, right? Let's say he wins another one as the best guy. That's 3. Then he's going to have to win 2 more where he's like he's really good, but carried by the defense. Kind of, like that's how that happens too, right? But that's still too short, right? Like we play more games, you play more playoff games. Like there's just a lot of things that are going to play into you're not winning 7. And in my 52, so we'll say I start being a sports fan at 4. So in my 48 years of fandom, 7 friggin' NFL titles is probably the greatest and most accomplished thing I've ever seen. And again, no disrespect to Bill Russell and his 11 championships. With some of them championships, it's like, bruh, your team was like literally twice as good as the average other team in the NBA.
So for Sir Lucius, I will say this for him. Thank you for taking us around the block about 12 times.
Yep.
So far that you went ahead and first named Tom Brady as if he was your dude on the side. But anyhow, great explanation.
Well, go ahead. Keep talking.
What was the topic again?
Don't play me. Don't play me.
So
go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, my rebuttal to that diatribe is Michael Phelps.
Listen.
I mean,
I'm a fan of swimming. I'm a huge fan of Michael Phelps. But at the end of the day, man, stop it. Like that dude is winning. He's winning races in the 100, the 150, the 200, the 250. Like it ain't like Michael Phelps was a sprinter and showed endurance, right? He just had a whole bunch of medals won in the same athletic area. Michael Phelps is the best sprinter to ever get in a pool. I get it.
Okay, so Tom Brady is the best person to throw a ball.
Yeah, no. There's a whole lot more to football than
I'm boiling it down.
I got you. That's your choice. So let me not poo-poo it.
Oh, that's okay.
You like Michael Phelps. I got you.
So the one thing I'll say about the Michael Phelps is Lamar got the room right, but you left out Phelps and Bolt, which is wrong of you.
Well, I left Bolt out because I didn't want to put Bolt and Carl in. That's a whole other conversation.
You just put Bolt in, and that's
no, absolutely not, because Carl's ability to long jump puts him in the same category as Bolt. And we
are not going to sidetrack this at this moment. So I am proud to watch you go around the block in such an accurate fashion.
Thank you.
That was worth the time.
I tried to give the moment its due.
So here's and I really, really hope that over the next week, month, year, that there are as many and proper tributes to this man as he deserves, because he deserves them all. I could sit here and list the statistics, but it doesn't matter. Just know if there's a record to be had, he has it. Playoffs, regular season, they're all his. Okay? They're all his. And the number twos aren't even close.
Some of those number twos are close.
Not when you put them in the context, but touche. The playoff numbers, not even close. This man has 35 playoff wins.
I know.
And the next best number is 17.
No, it's stupid. There's no question about it.
So, and this is the thing that this was the one that did it for me from a couple of years ago, and it's only gotten worse since then. At one point in his career, you could literally cut Tom Brady's career in half, and you could look at the first half or what he accomplished in the second half, and either half is a better career than whoever you want to call number two. Well, it's worse now. Any third is better. The man has had,
stop it.
I will run it for you later.
Stop it.
Any third is better.
Listen, you're not going to disrespect Joe Montana like that.
I'm not disrespecting Joe Montana.
Yes, you are.
Who was the GOAT and was mine. Only I got up off of it right on time.
Okay. I'll give you half, maybe. We're not going to go. We ain't going to go to a third.
You can though. You can look at
okay. Stop it.
I'll walk you through it. So here's the thing. No, here's the thing. The question is, in essence, is he the most accomplished? That depends on how you look at the word accomplished. There will be people that were like, of course not, Bill Russell, right? I like the way you put it, because for me, I'm a context guy. Context matters.
Yes.
Tom Brady is, for me, unequivocally the GOAT of GOATs in sport. And here's the biggest and most overlooked reason why. His career started and has ended through the world and the lens of free agency. The free agency piece of this is huge.
Huge.
How many players come in and out? How much talent does he lose around him? Does he have to face new, right? For all the people that love to scream about Belichick, and Belichick is my GOAT coach. Belichick's not an offensive guy. Brady was great with every offensive coordinator he worked with. All of them, even the ones that can't coach at all outside of New England. Okay? Like
Josh McDaniel.
This man and what he accomplished, and also given the context of he isn't the most talented. He's not even close to the most talented. He's not top 20 most talented. He's a 7th round pick.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with his talent.
Yes. Really?
Yeah. I mean, Russell Wilson's not what, a 3rd rounder or 6th rounder, whatever the hell he's got taken.
And I wouldn't put Russell Wilson in the top 20 of talents either.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay.
Athleticism, minimal.
Yeah, he has no athleticism.
Arm talent?
He has high quality arm talent.
He does not have a big arm. He never has had a big arm. He's incredibly accurate, which is a skill, right? But Tom Brady is Tom Brady because of his brain, his leadership, and that, those undefined, intangible things that he can just find a way to do over and over and over to everybody.
You know what the coolest thing is about Tom Brady? He retired today, and that marked the end of an era. Tom Brady was the last person drafted by the Montreal Expos.
Sure.
Oh,
who was still playing a sport. So that in and of itself is like the kind of cool that nobody else has.
Yes.
Right? He was drafted in the 18th round by a Major League Baseball team that no longer exists. Like that's insane.
We will never see anything like this again in our lifetimes. Never.
I don't know, man.
You
I'm inclined to agree with you. I am. I said so. But I'll just say this. I don't think anybody's going to catch him, but there's no question. If there is anyone who is going to, it's the beige guy that plays at Kansas City.
I don't know what you mean by catch him. Patrick Mahomes has an inherent advantage in statistics given the way the rules of the game are now and that there's an extra game. Cool. Those are stats. I'm sure he probably.
Oh, I'm only talking about rings. I'm only talking about rings.
Okay, there's no form of reality where Patrick Mahomes gets anywhere near 7 wins, let alone 10 appearances.
Listen, I'm not
the
concerned
10
about
appearances. The 10 appearances are even more impressive than the 7 wins.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, look, I agree with you. I don't think anybody gets there, but I am saying this. If there is a human being that God has ever blessed on this planet with us that has a chance of winning 7 rings, it's a guy that has been a starter 5 years and has been in the AFC Championship 5 times.
That's cute. They don't pass.
He's been a start. No, don't do that. Don't do that. He's been a starter for 5 years, and now he's in his 3rd Super Bowl. So let's be clear: if he wins this Super Bowl, he's on track.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Patrick Mahomes will not be.
He's going to get
Patrick
there.
Mahomes will not be playing football, elite football, in his 40s.
That's why I said I don't think he's going to get there. But if there is a human being, like, listen, if there's anybody who has a chance above 0, it's Patrick Mahomes. But nobody else has a chance. Like, literally, nobody else has a chance.
So again, the fact that that man's name is even in this part of our conversation is disrespectful. It is premature.
Irrelevant.
It is ridiculous. I'm all for the question. Goat of goats, and if it's not Brady, who? If person X wants to make the case for Phelps, I don't really like it, but I understand. If you want to make the case for Jordan, I don't like it, but I understand. Gretzky.
Listen, I love MJ, and y'all know that. I will tell you that in my mind, that the conversation is probably between.
Well, don't steal my answers, because that's what I was about to say. The conversation, if there is one, is, again, context. Brady, Serena, Muhammad Ali, and Tiger Woods.
Brady and Serena, I think, is the legitimate conversation. And Tiger's always a very interesting one. But the problem I think I would always have with Tiger is like this. Tiger has shot himself in the foot.
Yes. And that's where I was going. And so those are my 4 conversations that I would legitimately entertain. And here's the reason why I can't go there. Tiger, who is undeniably incredible, right? Ultimately shot himself in the foot, ultimately fell short of what he could have been through his own doings.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, I'm not going to pick technically the underachiever in context over the overachiever. I'm not going to do that. Serena is a real conversation. And the only reason that I would disqualify Serena at the end is because Serena is wholly in charge of her own career and her own accolades. It's her on a court against whoever. No one else can mess it up. It's just Serena. The basketball guys, whichever one you want to pick, it is easier to affect the outcome of a basketball game as an individual player than it is a football game. So Tom Brady has done the hardest thing in the hardest sport, in the hardest circumstances of free agency. And he's lapped the field again and again in his own sport. I'm not going to say he's lapped that room because that room is close. But in his sport, the level of stranglehold dominance that man has held over the NFL for as long as he has, you're never going to see this again. And I can't even say I'm sad today because he went out the way he wanted to go out. And if anybody's earned that, it's him. I was absolutely rooting for him to be like, you know what? Just to be petty, come home. And I do mean home to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And throw one more on there just because you can, which he would. But let's be real. Who's turning down $350 million to sit in the booth? Right? Like, hey.
Yeah. And we'll see if that goes that way. I'm assuming it's going to go that way. Look, I know I sound like the biggest simp ever. I'm legitimately rooting for him and Giselle to get back together. I want to see one of them super couples actually like work out.
Hey, that's the funniest thing of anything, if you take it off the field. For all that he was and is and whatnot on the field, Giselle is the one that elevated him socially. It wasn't the other way.
Facts.
I don't see, who knows? That's personal life, whatever. But that was tough. Like for that to be his last year, the divorce and go out with the way the Bucks had to go out, crazy. But listen, everybody should, pay homage and reflect on what you've been able to witness, because you're not going to see it again. Bay Area, stand up.
All the way. All right. Well, due to scheduling issues, Mr. Lamar is on Would You Rather this week. So I will say that some of these questions were tailored for the governor. So just answer briefly.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, briefly.
That was a great long jumper. Yes.
Man, before you do this, and I don't know if it's a time thing, but did we actually on LLC completely blow past the track segment?
Yeah, we did.
Can we not do that?
We should probably do a little bit of track is better.
Okay,
can we not do that? Can we get a little bit of that?
Yes.
All right.
Let's
So
get a recap.
I just want to throw this out there. University of Arkansas is real disrespectful in the women's 400 right now. It's a little late, quote unquote, in the indoor season to be sitting number 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the NCAA list in a singular event.
Yeah, but let's just be honest. They're nowhere near as disrespectful as the University of Washington men in the mile.
Which is exactly where I was going to go next.
Listen, guys, I want everybody who watches the show to understand what I'm saying. The 4-minute mile is a joke, whatever, but it's still something that we compare to, right?
Yes.
University of Washington has 7 people run under the 4-minute mile in the same race.
Yes, and are currently sitting 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7, 10 or some nonsense. Like they got 7 people in the top 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 9 at the moment. But your point is taken.
351 is dumb.
Right. And for the record, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 is a sophomore, a senior, a freshman, and a senior.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the University of Washington was like, here, hold my beer. I got
But no,
something.
that's I mean,
because look, Oklahoma State had 4 guys run under 4 minutes in the same race. I watched that race.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that's kind
Like,
of the
that's
narrative
cute.
of this past weekend, right?
Yeah.
Let's throw a party at home and be uber disrespectful to the guests.
Yep.
Like, let's
Uber
do that.
Just
disrespect.
run the table. Yep.
No, so I mean, you know, there are very few that, not those two situations notwithstanding, like we've had some mind-blowing performances thus far in indoor for sure. But there's less of that. I'm more impressed with just like, okay, the Razorback Invitational just gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, one of which is Arkansas's B team, leading the country in the women's 4x4.
Okay,
so we're out here running 326. We're
Arkansas
running
ran
326
and had somebody split 51-1 on the B team.
Well, I mean, again, the B team. Wait a minute. The B team.
The B team had somebody split 51-1.
like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here? 326 to 327.
University of Florida, not Akron, not
right.
Tempe State. University of Florida broke their women's school record by 2 seconds.
Yes.
Chasing Arkansas this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was me and my crew were in Albuquerque this weekend, and there was a Cam Rogers sighting. got to hang out with Cam and the Cal Throws crew, who looked amazing as usual. Thanks, props to Mo Satara for the good show. But Cam's out there in her secondary sport, just out here tossing weight throws 23.74 meters, having practice.
No big deal.
Number 3, and I'm going to take a personal point of privilege right now, because this doesn't happen around here right now. San Jose State has a top 10 in the country athlete right now. Amelia Solstrand, women's triple jump, is currently sitting number 6 in the nation at 13:37. Obviously a school record and PR, and apparently top 10 ever in the nation of Sweden, where she is from.
I was going to ask what's the record.
So very, very dope moment for us and for Amelia. And I thought that was awesome.
I am going to stand on the table and beat the drum for my constituency. Combined eventers never get their due. Like, we just do what we do. The people who know are like, man, you guys are amazing. The rest of the world's like, oh, that's cool. Is it the Olympics? No? Okay, then we don't care. I need people to understand this. Kyle Garland put up the number 8 performance all time this weekend, right? And everybody was like talking about Kyle breaking the collegiate record. And so therefore, and this is what I hate, because they were talking about the possibility of him breaking the collegiate record, it seems like a disappointment that he scored 64.15. I need people to understand this. The collegiate record is 64.99. It is the number 2 performance of all time, behind Ashton Eaton's world record at 6,600. So the same guy has 1 and 2, right? Like 6,400 points in heptathlon is dumb. And to do it in January is even dumber.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to understand this. That man weighs 230 pounds and jumped 219.
Smoothly.
Let's just look. I think people can understand this. If I can get people to understand like how good Kyle Garland is. He threw 16 meters plus in the shot put and jumped 219 in the high jump on the same day.
Yeah.
Right. So like, look at your track team, whatever team you're on, doesn't matter which team you're on. Find the guy that can throw 16 meters plus and imagine him jumping 7.3, 7.2.5.
Right.
Okay. Find the guy that jumps 7.2.5 And imagine him throwing 54 feet in the shot put. Exactly.
That's right.
Right. So at the end of the day, like, I need everybody to stand up and give this man his flowers and his props, because 6,400 as a collegian is dumb.
Well said. The only other two things that I really want to get in there, because they happened this past weekend, and I'm very excited to see how all this plays out. You know, Favor Feely is still in the NCAA, folks.
She reminded everybody this weekend.
In case that was, forgotten somehow.
Doubted, yeah.
So 22:53 in the 200 in January is a little disrespectful.
But meanwhile, in her own training group, Aaliyah Hobbs was like, "Here, hold my beer."
For sure. But
I'm gonna hit you with this 7-0 and this sub-7 real quick.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna just dip off and go do what I gotta do.
And Aaliyah nailing her starts, Aaliyah going 0 to 60 is potentially a solution to a very big problem that we have. So I'm here for that.
Sub-7, I believe you said this on this show. Sub-7 is sub-10-7.
Mm-hmm. Did.
So I need everybody to watch over you.
And in her case,
should be sub-10-7.
In her case, absolutely. Right? Because she's not the starter. She's a finisher. Right?
Exactly.
So yes. And then the other one, well, there's really two. Anytime there's, high, well done things by the Gamecocks, and this wasn't this past weekend, but I missed it. Mr. Evan Miller is number 2 in the country in the 400 right now at 45.91. Gamecock alum, so I'm here for that. Keep grinding, young man. But one of the cooler stories in the NCAA right now is the fact that Christopher Bailey of the University of Arkansas, who is a senior, is leading the country at 45.09. I don't even care about the time, which is phenomenal. I care that he is formerly Christopher Bailey of Mississippi Valley State. Yes. He is a SWAC, transfer portal import. And I saw this kid as a freshman in person, and he was a problem then. And I am glad, not that he left the SWAC, because that's not it. I'm glad that his talents are now going to get a bigger spotlight, because he deserves one. And that dude is really, really gifted. So I won't be surprised about anything he accomplishes this year, but I will be proud to say I saw him first and early in Birmingham, Alabama, when we were trying to battle it out in the SWAC with Mississippi Valley State. So I'm a big fan of that dude, and whatever he accomplishes this year, I will be standing and applauding for him.
I have one that's maybe not super highlighted, but again, kind of going through the combined events. Anna Hall running 51.4.
Anna's just out there playing people and doing Anna things. Like,
I need people to understand. Anna Hall has PR'd in the 60 hurdles, the 400 indoors, and the shot put this indoor season.
Right.
For no reason, just
with
like
a smile.
just stuff to do.
So, I mean, I thought that one, I loved seeing that. That was amazing.
I listen, I'm not going to get off this show without clearing my name. Vashti jumped 197 last week at Iowa. I did not know this. So, I got accused of like not giving her props because I'm like I'm the resident field event guy. I didn't know because Iowa did a horrific job of putting results out. I'm not going to blame them. I'm just saying I didn't know.
So who are we thanking for bringing that to your attention?
We're not doing that. We're going to give Vashti her props for jumping 197. We'll say one of the best high jump coaches in the history of the United States called me out. And, listen, I appreciate it. I can take it. I'm a big boy. I will also say that 238 was jumped this weekend. So there's that. 238 in January is also dumb.
That did happen.
Track is, you know what I think has happened since COVID? The calendar doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Before COVID, there was a flow, right? You'd get good marks, really good marks, and then there was a small 2-3 week window of great marks. Now, because of COVID, nobody's afraid to just do what they do. So you get marks like sub 7 and 238 and 6,400 in January. Because they're not afraid that, like, I won't be better in March.
But I think part of it too, on the converse, is they're also not afraid to not perform at a certain time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know it's kind of the same of what you're saying, but there's not the pressure of the time of the season on the spectrum that when you have to have a mark, because you're supposed to be peaking here and you're supposed to be having this type of performance at this point in time. They're okay resting. And they're okay, like, moving the markers around on the training plans. So
it used to be 75 to 85% of the marks that qualify for the NCAA happened Valentine's weekend.
And ironically, like, Valentine's weekend seems so far away, even though it's not. But with the peak of performances that we've already seen, it just seems like we either blew past it or it's very far away.
I mean, I need people to understand, like, 2075 is currently 14th. 14th. They're holding on to be in the meet like this. 2075. What?
That's really funny.
Listen, in the not so recent past, you run 2075. Listen, somebody already bought your plane ticket and your hotel room. They had already put in the per diem request.
That's right.
Because you was a lock in the meet. And I promise you, we're gonna have a segment next week of what do you think, like, you know, which
floor is the highest?
Right. What elite mark won't make the meet? Trust me when I tell you, man.
Yeah.
It's 663 already?
Yeah.
And that's only one person, because I think it's 662 is 15th.
Yeah.
Just let that wash over you.
All right. Allowing you to speak one more time when prompted. Are you ready for would you rather? Okay. Thinking of pizza. Do you like party cut slices or triangular slices? Or I guess whatever that is.
Normal or square.
Because I am a New Yorker. Pizza is only cut in 8 slices. Period.
Okay. So, keeping with the food theme, ice cream, cup or cone?
I am still a New Yorker. Cone.
Okay. Track spikes, implements, not shoes, quarter pyramids or needles?
Neither. Elements. That's the posts.
Got it.
I was a Mizuno guy.
Got it.
I'm into the posts. We run fast and jump high.
For your gear moving around, duffel bag or book bag?
Oh, listen.
He's a multi. Doesn't he have them all?
Yeah, for sure. Roller bag is the answer. But those psychopaths that choose duffel bag, I'm confused. Listen, if you're going to carry a burden, why would you want to carry it unevenly? Like, I don't even understand that. Like, literally, people who choose duffel bags, I don't get. And you know what? The one long strap, that just makes it worse, because the only way to wear a one long strap bag is diagonally across, so like that you take the bag diagonally across your back, right? You can't put it on one shoulder, because then you go, backpack. Sorry.
Boarding passes, electronic or paper?
Electronic. My
Would you
paper
rather
ones always get beat up.
Would you rather watch a DVR show or an on-demand show?
DVR, I feel like I did something.
Would you rather watch a live broadcast or a rebroadcast?
Live.
Do you prefer live results for track meets or end of the weekend Chiefers purge?
Oh my God, live results. Again, I feel like I'm involved.
The people who blow the live results are very irritating human beings.
Irritating.
And it's funny too, because you go across the spectrums of like flash results, PT timing.
And listen, everybody's messed it up, right? So I'm not picking on anybody. But if you tell me the results are live, then damn it, I want to know who's winning the long jump now. And
I mean, that's why
live
if you have to pick one group, you have to pick flash results because they've been doing it the best for the longest.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Who's my issue? Which platform is the one that refreshes every 15 seconds? I'm pulling it up. It's at Arkansas, whatever the Arkansas is, because the default is off, not 15 seconds. So I'm like ready for it to refresh and it doesn't refresh. And I'm like, damn it, gotta push 15 seconds. Anyways, that's my stupid not thinking. All right. Clyde, do you have a would you rather for Lamar? Excuse me.
I thought I would have a good track one for him. I really don't. So I'm in the middle of educating some folks on great television. Now I know the answer, so you can't give the answer. But the question is not what is the greatest HBO television show ever, because of course
The Wire.
Right.
He just said not to give.
No, it's fine.
It's just, I wanted him and the
what
rest
is
of the
the
people to know that
second?
I know.
What is the second best HBO show of all time?
So, okay, most people will say Sopranos. I will disagree. I'm going to say Boardwalk Empire.
That's interesting.
Boardwalk Empire was amazing.
It was.
And the sheer, just ridiculously unfathomable number of incredible actors and actresses that made either, seasonal or one show or whatever appearances in Boardwalk Empire was amazing. And Steve Buscemi was insane.
So I'm really glad to hear you say that. It's not my choice, but Boardwalk Empire and Treme are my slept on, underrated HBO shows.
I used to watch them both. And I'll tell you this, if you're somebody who knows that the levee broke in New Orleans, but that's all you know, and like FEMA didn't show up with checks, watch Treme.
Yes.
Because it will actually teach you, like, for real, what happened in New Orleans. For
sure. So wait, Chu, I'm going to throw that same question to you because I know you're a fan of. So give us the second best, because I know you know the answer is The Wire.
Yes.
So what is the second best?
I don't watch HBO.
Oh.
We watched The Wire during the pandemic, or that's when I was like actually understanding what that show was. But I'm having not grown up watching the page channels. It's not.
I'm gonna send you a list. We're gonna get you educated. That's what I'm doing in my house right now. So
that's hilarious. Yeah.
Lamar is going to laugh at me, and that's okay, because I
probably won't laugh at you because listen, you and I will say this. Like, this is the part people don't really know about me and you. You and I have some deep-rooted similarities that people don't know about because they never come out on the show. This is probably one of the few. Like, you and I love really good television and we love really good movies. Most people don't know that about either one of us.
This is true. So my number 2 is actually a tie because they're totally different things. I can't judge one above the other because they're totally different. Sex and the City and The Newsroom. The Newsroom is epic. And it's only 3 seasons long. So if you can't stomach, an 8-9 level season kind of show, the newsroom is where you want to go.
So here's what's funny. If I didn't pick Boardwalk Empire, because see, the thing is, you told me it had to be HBO.
Yes.
But if I was going to tell you the second best series that was ever on television, it would probably be a tie or somewhere in that neighborhood between Boardwalk Empire and the Boondocks.
Oh, sure. I mean, we all love the Boondocks.
I am a humongous fan of Sex and the City.
It's great TV.
Right? Like, it's funny when you travel in the circles we're in, right? Black people don't know about Sex and the City, and Black people don't know about Friends. You need, or Seinfeld. You need to have white friends. That's all I'm gonna tell you, because Sex and the City, Friends, Seinfeld, all top 5. They're all top 5 things that have been on television.
Wait,
Easily.
is Insecure HBO?
It is.
Yes.
Insecure.
And extremely well done.
And extremely well done. And so here's what's funny. Insecure almost goes in a category of its own because there's never been anything else like it.
True.
Before, and I'll be honest, there probably won't be anything like it afterwards, because the stones required to do that show could only belong to a female, if that makes any sense.
I totally understand.
Right? Like, because you have to have the kind of stones who's like, I don't care. Like, this is too far. I know it's too far, but I'm going to see if they're going to let me do it. Oh, they let me do it. Let's go further.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in Insecure. And let's be clear, that show was built for women. And I promise you, if you're a man and you watch every season, you will learn so many things.
The exact same way with Sex and the City.
Exact same way with Sex and the City. You'll learn things about Black people, about white people, but most importantly, you'll learn things about women. You learn things about relationships that like that. There's so many misconceptions that are out there. That
let them figure it out. Nope, stop.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Let them figure it out. So, all right, segueing into heartbeat props.
I'm gonna demand that the EP goes last. I don't really care if you go first, Chu, but the EP's got to go last.
No,
yes,
that's
sir.
Okay. You can
yes,
go.
sir.
Okay, so my heartbeat props are a little nerdy track insider stuff. I take a lot of shots at the Alphabet Crew, and rightfully so. They deserve it.
That's like, as you should.
But one of the things that they started doing in recent years that I think is actually pretty dope, and everybody should take the time to go actually look at, are what they call the event squad rankings.
Squad rankings. I like it.
In order to secure a squad ranking, you have to have some depth on your roster. If you have 4 individual athletes who contest an event during the season, indoor, outdoor, whatever, your group will be eligible to be ranked in the squad rankings. And it's pretty cool to see, just because, every now and then a program's going to have that one-off, right? And that's hard enough to do. But if you are somehow in the top 20, in the top 10, in the top 5 in a squad ranking, not only do you have solid, legitimate talent on your team, but you are coaching your ass off. Okay. So this is, for example, the most obvious example right now, who you think is the number 1 squad list in the women's 400 is clearly University of Arkansas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what they do is they take your squad, they average it out. So 4 women at the University of Arkansas, the number 1 squad, are currently averaging 51.91. Okay.
Is that good? I feel like it's good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The number 2 team is USC, who is averaging 52.81. So, you know, right? So
it's just a second.
Right. So this is very nerdy track insider stuff, but imagine the pride that I currently have to know that of all things, Speed City, San Jose State track and field is ranked number 3 in the nation in the women's triple jump. So
Jump shoe 2.0, baby.
right? So huge props to my ladies, led by, of course, Emilia Solstron, but, you know, Victoria Agin, Greta Ferratrio, Azaria Purdy, and, of course, my field event coordinator, AKA jumps in all other things specialist, Mr. TJ Harris.
TJ.
You are doing a hell of a job, sir. And, you know, 1337, 1230, 1205, and 1167. Number 3 in the country for now. And we're definitely going to keep trying to push that up to number 1. So congratulations, my man. I'm very proud of everybody. Congratulations, ladies. And sprint crew, we're in there, but we ain't number 3. We ain't top 5. So we got some work to do.
Today, the day that we record, is National Girls, Women's and Sports Day. Just general blanket statement of thanks for everyone who has paved the path and will follow the path in regards to females in athletics, because I wouldn't be who I am and where I am today without it. So, or without them, sorry, properly spoken.
I think now I know why Clyde demanded that I go last. Well, as to not be embarrassing, I guess I'll just jump right to it. My heartbeat props this week is twofold, because I think there are 2 very prominent things that need to be discussed. National Women in Sports Day and the beginning of Black History Month. So I'm going to start, so as not to end on this and be embarrassing, but I'm going to start with National Women in Sports Day. And this person has no idea that I'm going this route, but I have notes. And this is what the note says. Chew for National Women in Sport Day. That's what it said.
What?
It says chew for National Women in Sport Day. This is so I wouldn't forget what I wanted to say. We give our lovely Big League Chew a lot of crap sometimes, but I need people to understand this much. Being one of one is insanely difficult, and it is lonely and honorable and all those other flowery terms. But when you just say it out loud, female, Asian, non-Power 5 athlete, Power 5 speed and power coach, it kind of puts it all in perspective. Like, look, let's be clear. Big League's my homie, love her to death, always will. But I had to take today to give part of my heartbeat props to somebody who is one of one. Like, it's very rare that you can say to somebody, find the one of one at the meet. You can't be wrong. But if you go to a track meet and you go find like the Chinese chick coaching the combined events and the sprints and stuff like that, like, yeah, you got her. That's her.
The one
Her
you
name's
usually
Marissa.
can't see because everybody's over me.
You
The
know,
shortest one there.
she's 5'5" and Chinese, but she's listen, all of my baseball guys, they're not on this show, but trust me, they will all tell you, like, the Wednesday workouts that they do with this wonderful person who in her side hustle is making baseball players better. They call it choose violence. And on Wednesdays,
I like that.
And on Wednesdays, they are deathly afraid of what the 5'5" Chinese lady has for them. So I'm going to give probably somewhat embarrassing for her props to somebody who is, listen, folks, there are very few people that you'll ever meet in your entire life who are one of one. And you need to understand that person is a vanguard. That person is brave. Person is courageous. A person has broad shoulders. That person takes a lot of, excuse my language, takes a lot of shit to be who they are every day. And so I'm going to give 50% of my heartbeat props tonight on National Women in Sports Day to the only one of one I know in women's sports, Big League Chew.
Thanks.
My other half, as addressing the Black History Month, is I'm going to try to educate folks over the 4 weeks that I get the chance to do so during this month. And so I'm going to tell you this. In 1971, the first and only time this has ever happened, there were two African-American pitchers who started the All-Star game in Major League Baseball, Doc Ellis and Vida Blue. And it's insane that happened in 71, because what is that? 51 years ago? Am I doing the right math?
52.
52 years now. And that's insane that it's happened once ever. So in 52 years since then, it still hasn't happened. But that's one of the more important moments to ever happen in baseball. And people don't even really remember it, because what people mostly remember from the 71 World Series is that's the World Series where Reggie Jackson hit a home run off of Doc Ellis that hit the transformer on the roof of the Tiger Stadium. It's like one of the most ridiculous home runs ever hit by anybody. But I want people to understand that, on this first week of Black History Month, the one of one that did happen that I want people to understand is that there were at one point in time two African-American starting pitchers in the All-Star game. And as much as baseball is not necessarily systematically trying to get African-Americans out of the game, they make up a tiny portion at this point. It's a lot of brown faces, but most of those brown faces speak Spanish as a first language. And in trying to keep some brown in baseball and some brown American in baseball, it takes a village. And so if there's anything that, young folks should be striving to do, is like be the next African-American starter in a Major League All-Star game. So that's my heartbeat props for tonight. And we're going to continue working very hard to make this place better for all of our kids.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Good job. Kudos. With that said,
Can we rename you one of one?
have to make a cooler name than that. That's too many words.
I mean, Big League's pretty cool. You could be Big League, aka one of one.
Pretty funny. I'll make it short since we've gone a little bit longer. During an unofficial visit this weekend, they asked, because I have a pack of Big League Chew gum, but it's the pack that has the female on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought it in Vegas, I think 5 years ago. I'm probably even longer than that now. And so I keep it. It's obviously never been opened. It just sits there. And one of the parents was like, why Big League Chew? And so I went through the whole conversation of how we got to Big League Chew and how it actually started in fantasy football and basketball. But while I was speaking, I didn't realize that one of the parents actually went and YouTubed Athletics LLC, and I heard the theme song come on during, I was like, oh, that's our song. So anyways, that was pretty funny. So with that said, we wish Sir Lucius and the governor well and hope to see them next week. Safe travels to everyone traveling. And, if you're leaving North Texas, God bless you, because, we're all hanging on by a thread right now, hoping we all
Watch out for that half-inch of snow we got.
Jeez, crime mini. If you want to vent, I'm here because I've been living it. So with that said,
stay locked in.
At this point. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we hope to see you next week. Bye now.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, there's no others. Track and field's pace and we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.